We are now ready to write our second program, which will actually be quite more involved than our first program, the Hello World. The reason is that in this time we're going to actually write a class which will have methods other than main, and we will see how this class behaves in an object-oriented manner. You can already see that I have here the editor. I have just chosen the Emacs editor. Refer to the discussion we had before when we were talking about the Hello World example on what editors to choose and how to exactly compile and so forth. So I have my editor here, the Emacs editor, and I have the terminal window right next to me. The terminal window here has a blue background. Don't worry about the colors. It usually has a black background. In the editor, I have started writing a class that I have named robot. So I have written public class robot. What do we want to do? What do we need to do here? We want to be able to create robots that we will be speaking, will be saying something. So since the robot will be doing an action, that action in programming will be related to a method. We will write a method which will perform a specific action, the one we want. Every time we write a method, we need to give a name to that method. So we will name it speak, because this is what we want the method to do. We will have a pair of parentheses. We could be putting things inside the parentheses. For the moment, I will not. And then the curly braces, inside the curly braces, we are going to write, as we say, the body of the method. We're going to write what we want the operation speak to do. With methods, we not only have to specify the name, we also have to specify, as we call it, the return type. Will the operation, after it is done, will it return to us a result? Will that result be an integer? Will it be a real? What will it return? In this specific case, our operation will not return anything to the caller, as we say, and for this reason we use the word void. So it will do something, but it will not return something directly to the one that calls it. The operation may have side effects, but it will not directly return something to the one that calls it. Again, you will see how it will work specifically in a little bit. Inside the speak method, all we want to do is print a message on the terminal, on the screen. How are we going to do that? We have seen it before. We're going to use the system class, the out variable, and through that we're going to use the println method, in the same way that we printed the message hello in our first program, the Hello World. So inside here we will put inside double quotes the message we want to print. Say that that message is the message hi. So when the robot speaks, it always says hi. Great. This is our first method. Now, how are we going to see the robot speak? How are we going to call this method? Our program needs, recall what we said, our program starts executing from the very first line of main. So if we want to run our code, we need to have a main method. Let's write the main method. It will always have this weird header that as we go through the class we will understand more and more what the header, each of the words in the header means. For the moment you can understand already that main is the name of the method, and void, it means again that it doesn't return anything to the one who calls it. It does something, but it does not directly return something. Now, inside the main method we said that we want the robot to speak. Great. So we might be tempted to write this line, speak and a semicolon. Now, let me save the file and let me go and compile this file. I know that I will have a mistake, I will have an error, but let's see what the mistake will be, what the error from the compiler will be, and then we will explain why we have this mistake. So how do we compile? We will write at the terminal javac, this is the command, And here let me make it a little bit bigger in case you cannot see very well. javac and then the name of the file that we have written the code. Now recall, when I'm using the terminal, we need to be at exactly the same location, at exactly the same directory as the file, so that we just write javac robot.java. I am in the same directory. The directory is called examples, and that's why javac can find the file robot.java. They are all in the same folder. So here is the mistake. It says, it's a probably very cryptic message from the compiler at this point, but it is a message that you may see several times, and this is why I wanted you to see it here for the first time. It says the non-static method speak cannot be referenced from a static context. The static context is the static method main. So in other words, it says speak doesn't have this keyword static in front of it. On the other hand, main does. And here you have done a mistake. You are trying to use the speak method, which is non-static, from a static context, from a static method. Then again, like I said, this is a quite cryptic message. When you see this message, what do you need to do? What does it mean? 99% of the times, that will mean that you have forgotten to create an object. In order for us to be able to call the speak method, we need to create an object of robot type, and then call speak through the robot. It makes sense if you try to think about it in an object-oriented manner. Here we are saying speak, but we have not specified which robot we want to start speaking. We need to create a robot object. How do we do that? We say new robot and a pair of parentheses. This line creates a new robot. Now, we want also to be able to refer to that new robot object. How will we be able to refer to that? Through a variable. So we will declare variable r, and inside that variable we're going to store somehow this robot object. This variable will be referencing, as we say, the new robot object. And then we are going to call speak through this variable. In other words, we said we create a new robot, this new robot is r, and we want r to speak, not any abstract robot. We want this specific robot that we just created to speak. Let's save what we did. Let's save these new changes, and let's try again to compile our code. Now, what we want to do is again javac robot.java. You can use a shortcut if you use the up arrow. If you just press the up arrow, that will give you the history of the commands you have inserted in the terminal. And then all you have to do is press enter instead of retyping it. Now the compiler does not give any message, and here applies that no news, good news. So we don't have any compile time errors. Great. Now, what do you expect to see if we run this program? Let's run it and see. You can, before you continue with the video, you can answer this question yourself. Java robot is how we run it, and we do indeed see hi on our screen. Perfect. The robot is doing what we want.